Hello, friends. I hope that you are here today to chat with me about how to regret proof your decision making. Now, if you are a solopreneur, that means you work for yourself, not necessarily by yourself. You may have a virtual team, you may have an in person team, or you might just have an assistant. But if you are a solopreneur, coach, consultant, independent professional, creative service provider, you are where the buck stops, literally and figuratively, meaning you are the decision maker. You are the gatekeeper. You are the one who wears all the hats. And if you haven't already heard about decision fatigue, it is a real thing. And decision fatigue essentially means if you don't have any kind of systems or processes in place that make decision making easier, quicker, and less stressful, it's going to slow you down in your business. So, one of the things that I help nearly all of my clients with is how to get better, faster, and more confident in their decision making in and for their business. There are many, many reasons why solopreneurs struggle with their decision making and why they sometimes make decisions they regret later, often don't make decisions in a timely manner and miss out on opportunities and create a lot of unnecessary suffering in the process. So, how do we get better at this? Well, there's all kinds of tips and tricks and tools and hacks. But if you've been following me longer than a minute, you know I'm much more interested in mindset plus strategy. Why? Because I've seen far too many solopreneurs cobble together a business based on this person's tip and this person's trick and this person's hack and this person's proven process, literally like Frankenstein's monster, or to be more gentle, a patchwork quilt. But this is not systematic, this is not structured, and it's definitely not strategic. So, if you've sort of figured your business out as you went along, as many of us do, especially younger solopreneurs who don't have the resources when they're just getting started to pay for expert advice, so they do what they can to start their business and sustain their business with free advice from a variety of sources. This can make decision making even more difficult. So, I'm going to walk you through some of the things that I help my clients with and that I actually use regularly in my own business. And by the way, even though I'm an expert, I'm not perfect. I have and continue to make all kinds of mistakes on a regular basis. But there is part of the magic. The reason why is that most women I know, not just business owners, but most women I know really do everything they can to avoid making mistakes of any kind. They don't want to buy the wrong product for their skin. They don't want to adopt the wrong strategy for their marketing. They don't want to build their business on the wrong platform. But business is trial and error. Marketing is trial and error. Even figuring out what you're selling, how you're selling it, to whom you're selling it, the price that that particular market segment is willing to pay for what you offer. It's all trial and error. So from the get go, if we can learn to think of everything we do in our business as an experiment, and we deeply embrace the trial and error nature of it, then every decision is either something that works and you're going to stick with, or it's something that didn't work, you learned from, and you're either going to drop, swap, or tweak in some way. I mean, can you just imagine what a difference it would make for you as a solopreneur or small business owner if you stopped putting so much pressure on yourself about decision making? If you literally decided to adopt this belief, I can do no wrong. Now, that doesn't mean that everything you do is going to automatically work because it won't. But if you decide to believe I can do no wrong, meaning every decision I make is going to yield feedback, it's going to create some sort of outcome, and that's going to reveal information to me. It's either going to move me forward, in which case I'm going to continue doing it, maybe even double down on it, or it didn't work as well as I expected to. So, what small changes can I make to see if it makes a difference? And if you make a change and it doesn't make a difference, make a different change and see if that makes a difference. But if all of this experimentation is done with the belief that I can do no wrong, there are no mistakes. You might like that one better than I can do no wrong. There are no mistakes. There's trial and error, there's experimentation, there's taking risks, and there's learning from those risks. I have seen so many brilliant women, experienced, competent, like literally genius level, crippled by the belief that they can't afford to make a mistake. Honey, you can. You can not only afford to make mistakes, in my opinion, you must. Because if you're not making mistakes, you're not making decisions. And if you're not making decisions, you're not moving forward. I mean, nobody succeeds in business against their own will. The marketplace is plenty full, you may have noticed. So nobody's going to force you to take their money and serve them. No matter how specialized what you do is, there's competition. There are other people who do what you do. And if you do it as well or better than them, you owe it to yourself and to the clients that you could be serving to let them know. But in order for that to happen, you got to make decisions. And in order for you to make decisions, you have to break up with the belief that you can't afford to make mistakes. Now, listen, I absolutely understand where this belief comes from. I mean, women are culturally conditioned from the time we're little girls to avoid making mistakes. We are culturally conditioned to think there's something wrong with us, to doubt our intelligence, to doubt our competency, to doubt whether we have what it takes for that promotion. I can't tell you how many women who have been very successful in whatever they are doing who doubt themselves on a daily basis. This really slows us down. It makes business much less successful, much less profitable, and way more stressful than it should be. I mean, if you want to suffer, just go back to your job. Having your own business is supposed to be more fulfilling and, I believe, more fun. So, if making decisions in your business, and I'm talking big ones and small ones, making decisions like what font pair am I going to use on my marketing material, all the way up to, is it time for me to expand my service offerings, hire a new member of the team, or rebrand? Those are bigger decisions. But you may have heard me say this before, how you do one thing is how you do all things. Another way of saying it is wherever you go, there you are. So if you struggle to make minor decisions because you doubt yourself, because you lack confidence in your decision making, because you don't trust your intuition and instincts, then you will have similar struggles with big decisions. And you may even point to failures you hold against yourself as a rationale for why you continue to struggle with making decisions. The reality is, there's almost no decisions you can make in business at the solopreneur level that are literally going to destroy what you've built. Almost none. You have more bounce back ability than you think you do. Now, some of us grew up with very critical parents. Some of us were very impulsive decision makers earlier in life. And some of us do have some serious regrets about decisions we've made in life. Dropping out of school, marrying the wrong person, deciding to invest in something that went belly up and you almost lost everything. I don't know a single adult that doesn't have bad decisions in their rearview mirror. But you decided to go into business for yourself. And I think that's an amazing decision. It's a courageous decision. But one of the things that being a solopreneur or small business owner requires is that you continue to make decisions, not just the initial one, should I start my own business, but the big and small decisions that are part of the entrepreneurial journey every single day. As a matter of fact, I would say anyone who owns their own business probably makes at least double the number of decisions as someone who works for others. Maybe triple, maybe 10 times as many. Because you're the boss. You are the decision maker. So it is in your best interest to decide that you make decisions well enough, decide that there is no failure, there's success or learning. I know it's cliche, but it's also true. You can decide that you know enough, that you're smart enough, that you're competent enough, capable enough, and have enough information to make a decision. Some of the strategies that I encourage my clients to use is to make a decision. For example, how many resources are you going to consult with before you make a decision? And then obey that number. A lot of people I know are overthinkers, and they overthink and they overthink and they overthink. And deciding they don't have enough information to make a good decision propels them into an endless cycle of getting more information and more information and more information based on the belief that if I don't feel confident about making a decision yet, it's because I need more information. This is absolutely false. More information is not going to make it easier for you to choose. As a matter of fact, the more information, and when I say information, it might be you might be reading on Reddit, you might be reading on Harvard Business Review, you might be consulting with more trusted advisors, listening to more podcast episodes, like you name it, talking to more people, reading more things, listening to more things, hiring more consultants, strategists, coaches. In general, if you have trouble making decisions because you don't want to make a mistake, more is not better. Better is better. More specific is better. Now, maybe you really don't want to make decisions after only consulting one resource. I respect that. In fact, the vast majority of people, if they have car repairs or dental work or even a vacation they're planning will often get 3 sources, 3 bids, 3 opinions, 3 options. A lot of people, when they decide to hire a coach or consultant, will do a free consultation with 3 people. I believe that's enough for most decisions, but not 3 random people, not 3 Facebook groups. Like, I don't think we need more information to make better decisions. I think we need better information to make better decisions. But not only that, I think one of the most important things that almost all business owners need, especially women, is to reestablish their trust in their own decision-making abilities, reestablishing their trust in their own intuition and instincts. I also think that most small business owners, solopreneurs, and especially those who are women, need to forgive themselves more readily, more easily, and much more often when their decisions don't yield optimal results. There's a great number of female solopreneurs who are hardcore perfectionists. So, how they tend to approach decisions, large and small, is through procrastination and perfectionism. They are doing everything humanly possible to avoid making a bad choice, a wrong choice. And in many people's minds, a bad choice, a wrong choice, a failure, a mistake isn't actual failure, like where you go out of business because you made a bad decision, but a less than ideal, a less than optimal, a less than perfect decision they call a fail. I knew women like this throughout my life. They didn't just want to pass a class in grad school. And by the way, if you've never been to grad school, nobody fails. No, there is no fail in grad school, whether that's law school, social work school, architecture school. Nobody fails. You get A's or B's. The hard part is getting in. Once you're in, they want you to succeed. Now, they're not going to socially promote you through, but nobody actually fails. And yet, many of my classmates believed that if they didn't get an A on every single assignment, every paper, every class, that was equivalent to a fail. This is part of the problem, my friends. Calling a less than perfect outcome a failure. No wonder we torture and torment ourselves so much. Unrealistic expectations are part of the problem. Perfectionism is part of the problem. This black or white thinking that if we can't make it the best possible outcome, it's a hardcore fail. No, it isn't. And women, I'm sorry to say, are far more prone to this kind of thinking when they become business owners, because many of us think this way as a result of our cultural conditioning before we became business owners. So, what does it come down to? It comes down to this. You are never going to be able to get enough evidence to convince you that you can make good decisions. Because if you're a perfectionist, if you're an overthinker, if you're a second guesser, if you are absolutely convinced that anything less than the perfect outcome is a mistake, the first thing you need to change is your mindset. I can't convince you, and neither can anyone else. This is an inside job. Now, I may be very persuasive. My arguments may be very compelling, and you may have plenty of evidence that this mindset, the one you approach your business with, is hurting you. It's obvious, isn't it? I mean, first of all, it makes decision making really painful. It probably makes you procrastinate, resist, and avoid many of the harder decisions, like letting someone go who is beyond a weak link in your business. But even once you've made the decision, you keep going back and thinking, second guessing. All the energy that goes into looking for more information and thinking more is better is delaying the decision that allows you to move forward. And here's the hard truth. You ready? Other entrepreneurs who do not struggle with this, the overthinking, the second guessing, the fear of failure, they are going to succeed much better and much faster than you ever will. That's the hard truth. Because no matter how special what you do is, there are people who do it as well. And what's even harder to accept, but it's absolutely true, the people who do what you do within reason, they're your competitors, but they don't have difficulty making decisions. They actually make decisions quickly and readily, and they take their mistakes and failures in stride, and they just keep moving forward. They are serving the clients that could be yours. They are earning the revenue that could be yours. And they sleep very well at night without having to be on anti-anxiety or antidepressant medication. That's the hard truth. I love the fact that more and more women are becoming entrepreneurs every day. I freaking love it because I believe that every woman needs to be prepared to support herself, whether she chooses to or not, but she needs to be prepared to. I also think that owning your own business of any size can be a tremendous source of satisfaction and a major confidence builder for women. I've seen it happen again and again and again. But what I've also seen happen again and again and again is women who fail to achieve these results in entrepreneurship because of this fallacy that you have to be perfect, that you can't make mistakes, that it would be so humiliating if you did something wrong. Let me tell you something. Even though it made me cringe, last fall, when I pulled the launch of a program in my business, I was given the advice from some other women in a mastermind I was in at the time that I should talk about it publicly. As a matter of fact, they encouraged me to record an episode of my podcast, The Driven Woman Entrepreneur, about my failed launch. And while it was uncomfortable, I did it. And can I just tell you, it has been one of the most talked about, respected, regarded, and shared episodes I've done in over 3 years of releasing a weekly podcast episode. I'm up to now 172. It has been one of my most popular. Why? Because I talked about my failure publicly. And people really needed to know that that was a thing you can do, that you could not only make a decision to take an action I still don't know to this day that it was the right decision, but it was the decision I made at that time, and I chose to take action on it, and I chose to talk about it publicly, and a lot of people said it really helped them. You know, starting your own business is not easy, and you will make decisions. That's a fact. But living in fear of them, that's just not necessary. Some of the tools that I use are if I have an important decision to make and I notice that it has taken me an inordinate amount of time to make it, not that I'm not trying. This isn't one of the ones I'm procrastinating, resisting, or avoiding. It's just really taking me a long time to make the decision. That is a perfect time for me to hire someone to help me make it. A coach, a consultant, a strategist. It needs to be someone that I trust and I respect, who will tell me the truth as they see it. And if I ask them to hold me accountable to taking action on it, they will. Now, I'm not going to hire 10 different consultants to tell me their opinions because that will not help me. That will allow me to further indulge in confusion. Other things I do is for small decisions, I use the Eisenhower matrix because sometimes my brain is so full of ideas and tasks that I need to perform that I struggle to determine what to make a priority, what to focus on, and in what order. The Eisenhower matrix helps me with that. Bigger decisions, sometimes I just need more time, but often I need an outside perspective. I need someone who understands how my brain works and can help shine a light on my blind spot and what it is that's hanging me up. Another thing I do, and I encourage my clients to do, set a limit on the amount of time you're going to allow yourself to research options. Set a limit on the amount of options you're going to give yourself before you decide. Make a promise to yourself that no matter what the outcome, you decide ahead of time to either see it as a win or as feedback so that you can take another action. Refuse to hate yourself for making mistakes. Just take that off your menu. And remind yourself of two things. One, how many good decisions you've made, not just in your business, but in life, because decision making is a universal skill and it can be transferred from one place to the next. Applaud yourself, celebrate, reward yourself for all the good decisions you've made. And think about mistakes you've made, times you've made the wrong decision, times you've failed. Was anything good coming from those situations? Did any good? Were there any silver linings? Were there any actual lasting wins, successes, insights that came to you as a result of past failures, bad decisions, or mistakes? If you give yourself a little time and maybe even ask someone who knows you really well, I promise you, you have those times too. And if you have an important decision to make in your business and you just keep circling around and circling around and circling around, if I might be the right person to help you figure out the decision, make the decision, and then act on the decision, I would be delighted to serve you in that capacity. Sometimes what we need most of all is a sounding board. In a way, it's someone that we know, like, and trust, someone we respect, someone who maybe has a little more experience than us, who gives us permission to do the thing that we really want to do, but we're afraid it might be a mistake. Everybody needs a sounding board. If you don't have one, maybe I could be that person for you. So, if you want more information on this topic about how to make better decisions, how to avoid regret, how to take risks and get faster and better and more confident and all of these things, then episode 171 of the Driven Woman Entrepreneur podcast is available on your favorite podcast player right now. So go have a listen. And if I can help you in any way, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Coach Diane Wingert. I would love to help you.